I don't know if this shows up on here, but if you look very careful, yeah, it does. If you look very careful at these tungsten rods, now obviously this is off, you notice the shiny part that's near this block? That's how much it used up inside of, I'd say since early September till now, around, say, February 8th. So these get consumed up. These are 1/4-inch tungsten. They're pure tungsten. You can't use any other type of tungsten. Or so it's actually, these are difficult to get, but I found out you can get these from AmazingOne.com. They're $15 each. It's the 1/4-inch ones that are 1/4-inch wide and 1 inch long. And if you look around, 1/4-inch wide rod is not easy to find. Their big coils use 3/8. So I'm going to turn this on briefly so you can see what the heck I'm talking about, though. And this is a portable type of Lakhovsky device, not the genuine McCoy, but basically along the same designs. And let me just turn it on real briefly so you can see what I'm talking about, what it is. So you can see it's quite noisy, but anyway, I just want to explain a little bit more about this. You saw the portable Lakhovsky device, and you know, actually I saw those tungsten rods were wearing down, and I use that thing quite a bit. I use it for an hour a day now. I don't know when I started using it an hour a day. I think I'd have to look back on my other videos. It was in October, I believe. And I was experimenting with it, you know, to see what it does. The thing is, you know, I looked around on the internet, and a lot of people were looking for, you know, the tungsten rods that are really thick that you can use with the device. And most of them are 1/8 inch thick or 3/16, and that's a 1/4 inch, so they don't wear down as much. And it looks like the really big Tesla coils will use the 3/8 inch thickness of tungsten rods. Now, when you're using those tungsten rods on a Tesla coil, and I've read this in other places that for people should know, that they do know, I guess they actually put together the original Lakhovsky device. It has to be pure tungsten, because tungsten rods come in all these different types with alloys and all this type of stuff, and it has to be the ones that are pure tungsten. So you know, where I found those was actually the place that sold me that unit, AmazingOne.com. And if you do a search, because I couldn't figure out where the hell it was, I just looked up the word tungsten, and it came, and up with the search results with, you know, tungsten rods, and it has it with the blocks and the different sizes. That one takes the 1/4-inch thick, 1 inch long tungsten rods, and it's probably going to last me a few more months. I ordered some more, $15 each plus shipping, and it'll probably last a few more months before I need to change them, or maybe even longer than that. I'm not sure, but you can see they slightly wear down a little bit at a time with a lot of use, and you want to make sure the gap, the spark gap, is adjusted properly so as not to overload the components. It's like you want to keep that spark gap at 1/8 inch, what I was showing on that video there before. Now, if people are unfamiliar with this, actually I'm going to point to, I got a blog spot. I threw all the videos on there. It's portable Lakhovsky, I don't know, I think it's portable Lakhovsky MWO.blogspot.com or something. I'll put a link on the bottom, but that's where I'm basically putting all the videos to keep them kind of grouped together. You know, if you kind of try to find them. They're all on YouTube, though. Everything's on YouTube. But the thing is, with that device, what I found highly interesting about it, now I'm not using it for medical purposes. I'm kind of just experimenting with for rejuvenation purposes or cosmetic purposes or whatever. And, you know, I'm just messing around with it because I don't know if it's going to work or not. I've read that back in the 1930s they had people that tried this stuff out, and they used it on plants, they used it on animals, and they used it on people. All had really super good effects. Theoretically, the way it's supposed to work, it's supposed to bring in energies that are around us into the body. And it was developed by Georges Lakhovsky, a Russian scientist and engineer, and over a period of years. But the idea actually came from Nikola Tesla. And I think, if I got this correctly, I think Georges Lakhovsky actually because he got inspired by Nikola Tesla's talk about this, but it was actually Georges Lakhovsky that put it together. And I think there was at one point in time he came up with some kind of problem where it wasn't doing exactly what he wanted to do, and I think he conferred with Nikola Tesla again. So it's kind of like, not exactly one person specifically, but it really is all Georges Lakhovsky's work, but the original idea came from Nikola Tesla. And but the way this works supposedly is it rejuvenates and strengthens the cells where they're weak. Now, subjectively, I think it gives me more energy. I don't know for sure. It's kind of hard to tell. Now, I know I looked at doctors' reports they had in hospitals, in major hospitals, about people who were terminally ill, and they used this device, not the exact one I have. I have like a dumbed down type of Lakhovsky coil. It's kind of like one coil. There's 8 rings. There's only one spark gap. The original one is the one Georges Lakhovsky made. Used a sending coil, a receiving coil. It had Tesla coils right on this receiving and sending array of antenna. There were 12 antenna. There was 3 spark gaps. It was more complex. It was more powerful. But the one I have may be somewhat beneficial. I'm not sure. But so I'm just experimenting with it, and I thought the price was right and the simplicity is good because, if I ever had to repair it, it looks like it's easy to fix. But that's another consideration. But when they used the actual original Lakhovsky device in hospitals, it showed that they had cures. I don't think it didn't really actually cure a disease. The body cured the disease. But what it did was it strengthened the body where it was weak, and a disease was overcome in the body. So, like, you can use this, it's not like a medicine, more or less. It basically brings the body up to full strength where it's weak. That's the theory, anyway. So, people that were terminally ill, they tried this Lakhovsky device, multi-wave oscillator, on them back in the 30s and 40s. Up until the time, I guess, Georges Lakhovsky was hit by a limousine in New York City, which I think was highly suspicious in 1942, and that happened over there. They were using a device even in a major hospital, a prestigious major hospital in New York City, up until the time Georges Lakhovsky got hit by a limousine. But the thing is, unlike a lot of these other alternative, quote-unquote, alternative devices out there, this was actually evaluated, even though it was many years ago, 80 years ago or whatever, in hospitals by real doctors, real medical professionals. And it was used on people that were hopeless. And most of them got well. Which is pretty crazy stuff, man, if you think about it. I'm beginning, So I've been experimenting with it. The other things I heard about it was like it reversed, in some cases, it reversed baldness, wrinkles lessened, gray hair came back, went dark again, and all that kind of stuff. Now, what I've been noticing is that, I put some, I'll say this, whatever. I put some stuff in my hair because it gets gray too fast, and I put something in there and it darkens it up. I haven't been doing that the last few months, and I'm not 110% sure because I think this thing is going to take, I think I started using this about an hour a day in October. If I look back, I think it was in late October. So it may take 6 months to a year before I really definitely notice it. But I would have actually put something in my hair to get rid of some of the gray by now. And it seems like it's not, it's like your hair is not coming in, well, my hair is light brown anyway, so it's going to be not so crystal clear, because if I had like real dark brown hair or black hair, it would probably be, I would definitely know it better then. But I have like light brown hair, so it's kind of like really hard to tell anyway. But it looks like it's a mixture. It looks like it's like the hair is getting darker. And I'm not, hopefully I'm not wrong about this, but I don't think I'm imagining it, because by now I would have put something in my hair to, make sure the gray was not there as much. So that's why I think, after this many months, it should have, I would have already done that. And I'm thinking, it looks like the hair is like coming in, or it's not coming in that way. It's like it's interdispersed with the brownish hair and the grayish hair. It's interdispersed. It's mixed. and I thought it was more gray before. I'm not 100% sure. I noticed this about a month or so ago, and I put a video out on it, and I figured I'd just give an update because, I was wondering what the hell to do about those tungsten rods. Where the hell to replace those, where you get them, and I wasn't even sure what type to get. You got to use 100% pure tungsten, and if you could probably use the ones that are thinner, but they'll wear out a lot faster. You want to use the 1/4-inch rods, the ones that are thicker. And if you buy a whole big pack of those damn things, they're hundreds of dollars. And you'll have to find a way to cut them. You'll probably have to break them, and that's why I just went back and I saw Amazing1.com does sell those, the 1-inch replacement rod. So I got a couple more of those on the way, only $15 each. And for all the heavy use I'm getting out of them, they might last. They last months and months and months and months. They don't really wear out too easily. They last a long time, but they will get consumed up, and you have to keep that spark gap thing adjusted correctly. Now, I also mentioned in an earlier video that it was Dr. Robert C. Beck. He rediscovered one of those Lakhovsky devices, he said, in a basement in a Southern California hospital. Now, I was always wondering about something with this guy because it seems like he's legit up to a point, and then up to another point, he's throwing, I swear to God, he's throwing us curveballs. And then there's people out there that say either he's a total quack, bull BSer, or there's people out there that think he's a god. And I tell you the truth, I think the truth is someplace in between those two. And, somebody actually commented on one of my videos that Beck never actually found a Lakhovsky device in a hospital, in a Southern California hospital. And he actually devised something off of plans he saw on the internet or something, and he made something. And, I almost tend to think that's true because one thing that always made me wonder, how come he never published any pictures of the device he discovered in the Southern California hospital when he was tasked with the state of California to evaluate alternative medical devices. How come he never took a bunch of pictures of this damn thing? And actually, if it was an original device, it was made by Colissa in France, in Paris. That's the company that was making them. In other words, it would have a serial number on it, and it would have the genuine tag, and you'd just take a picture of it. He was writing articles about this damn thing, and people were following him around like he's the Holy Grail. And it was like, he never told anybody exactly what the deal was with the original device. He could have took like, here's my camera, I'm going to click away with a whole pile of pictures, with the things put together, taken apart, and all the different angles, and here's a ruler and a measure, next to all the things, and this is it exactly. But it looks like he never did that. He definitely didn't do that. So it may be true that he never even found one of those devices, but he created something that was pretty similar, and it was off of things he read someplace. That may be true. So, I kind of wonder about Dr. Beck. There's like there's like sides to him that are good, and there's sides to him that make me think he's tied in with the Intel CIA community for disinformation too. So, also I want to ad lib a little bit about something on the Beck zapper. If there's one thing that actually the Beck zapper may possibly be very, very, very effective against is malaria, because the Beck, I'm not, you have to look at one of my videos for what the hell Beck zapper is, Bob Beck zapper, but it basically electrifies the blood with a very low current at half the frequency of the Schumann Earth frequency at 3.9 hertz. And what happens is when, he claims it cures everything. That's bullshit. I know that's not true. It may be he's pretty effective against, or may help, may do things. One thing I never liked about his advice is that he said never to take herbs or medicines and don't see your doctor and just do this. That I never liked. I never liked when he said that. And I was saying, wow, man, you better know what the hell you're talking about if you're telling people that kind of garbage. But there's one area where it may be effective, where it probably, which I've read various feedback from not just people, but I heard people talk about studies that were done on malaria. And figuring that it's electrifying the blood and that malaria is strictly a disease of the blood only. It doesn't go into your gut, into your bone marrow. It doesn't go into your root canals. It's in the blood. That's where malaria is. And also, lo and behold, if you look at the consolidated frequency list, which lists all the frequencies that are supposedly touted to be against this disease, that disease, or whatever, they list 3.9 as effective against malaria, which happens to be the frequency that the Bob Beck unit uses, 3.9 hertz, which is half the human Earth frequency. So if you want to really experiment with something that maybe where it's really effective, you know, who the hell gets malaria in the United States? I don't know, maybe nobody, but that might be one place where it really is worthwhile. I don't know. I think it's worthwhile in just as long as you realize that it's got limits, you know. The Lakhovsky device I find highly interesting because it's not just something that's touted to, you know, help the body fight disease. It's just actually supposed to rejuvenate and strengthen the body. Now, I'm going to actually tell you something else that where they have a device that was actually developed by Nikola Tesla. It's called the violet ray. Now, the AMA considered the violet ray a quack device. And in 1952, they banned it for any kind of medical purposes. But here's a big caveat to this. The violet ray, which is like a mini Tesla coil in a light bulb, basically, and you know, it's almost like maybe what I have is somewhere between a violet ray and a Lakhovsky coil. I don't even know. The violet ray was allowed to be sold in this country, though, not as a medical device, but for cosmetic purposes only. It's actually sold on the internet. You can buy it on Amazon.com. You can buy it whatever. Just look up violet ray for skin blemishes, wrinkles, or whatever, and moles, or you know, like if you have a mark on your skin or something, you use the violet ray to help lessen that. And you know, what I have to say is that if the violet ray does lessen skin blemishes or problems with the skin or hair or whatever, that, you know, if it helps thicken your hair or whatever the hell it is, I would almost think that it does help the body to heal itself, which in turn means it probably does have some little minor medical benefits to it, doesn't it? I mean, a little common sense would tell you that, but the AMA does not say that. And the AMA says that it is now labeled a quack device, but it's still used for cosmetic purposes. Now, what I find interesting is that the Lakhovsky coil is like the violet ray on steroids, at least. So, you know, maybe it is something that could be genuinely used for cosmetic purposes. You know, maybe somebody wasn't on the, would be, you know, you want to maybe look at this as from a scientific engineering viewpoint, or like if you have a problem and you want to get rid of some cancer or something like that, you know, maybe you ought to just look at a Lakhovsky coil as a rejuvenation enhancement device, or a device that will keep people younger or keep them more energetic or whatever the hell it is. And, you know, actually, to tell you the truth, that would probably be the way for having stellar sales in a Lakhovsky device if it's just sold strictly for cosmetic purposes only. Because the violet ray is sold for cosmetic purposes only. No problem. No, you know, I mean, the AMA isn't in the cosmetic business. You know, they're not getting their toes stepped on. Actually, that'd probably be the way to actually mass produce the Lakhovsky coil and steer clear of the medical community. But, you know, if it turns out that it does work for a lot of freaking problems that people might have, ailments, well, you know what? I guess the genie's going to be out of the bottle and ain't going to be a damn thing they could do about it. But for the meantime, you know, it probably should be just sold for cosmetic purposes only. Now, again, like I said, the one thing you have to really maintain on that device is the spark gap, the gap between those two tungsten bars. It's got to be maintained about 1/8 inch. As that gap gets bigger, it puts a strain on the components, I believe, and it'll shut down. It's not really good for it. I don't know if that's good for the transformer. I've done that a couple of times where this thing got, you know, I didn't have it in. Now I'm more careful of keeping it adjusted, and if you keep it at 1/8 inch, it will run for, you know, 20-25 minutes, no problem, easily. And that's what I do. But, you know, after a period of time, you will have to change those tungsten rods. And the ones to get are pure tungsten. Do not get any of the other ones that are not that have alloys in them because they're improper. But you know, I'm going to continue on with this experiment. I know people were asking me what the hell was going on with it before, and you know, maybe somebody just seeing this video right now. I mean, I'll just put a link down there on the bottom about the Lakhovsky, you know, the blog spot where all the videos are. They're all YouTube videos, but I have them all uploaded on the blog spot because it kind of keeps it in one area, you know. And I find this to be possibly the most interesting device going. Now, there's some other things I want to probably get on with, you know, with Altier Robin F165. It's type of a pad type Reif machine. It supposedly can also drive plasma devices. I actually have the Orgone bulbs. I don't understand plasma devices. You know, when I put something out, I want to actually try to have it more researched where I can give you more specific information. The Lakhovsky device, to me, I think it would be beneficial for, well, it depends if you got the patience and fortitude to use the device every day. You know, I actually am using that damn thing an hour a day, 3 20-minute sessions. If I see that I don't have any gray hair or some crap by next year, or if it's really clear cut as all hell, I'm going to say that damn thing is doing something. As it is right now, it kind of appears that way. I'm still not 100% sure. I'm still not 100% sure. But, you know, if it does that, that's going to be a hot seller. And you know what? The AMA is basically has nothing to do with cosmetic purposes. So just keep that in mind because maybe that's the way it should be sold for. Cosmetic purposes only.